Control J to join those. And of course, our origin is still here. So right click, set origin, origin to geometry. And now we have one single object with all of our toilet paper rolls intact. Welcome back to Blender Frenzy. I am Justin, and in this video, we are going to talk about joining 1,000 objects into one. So first, I'm going to just show you the quick and dirty way to do it. Then, of course, I'm going to show you the Blender Frenzy way that I do it, because we are going to run into some issues. And then, of course, if you want to work as non-destructively as possible, then you can stay tuned and see how I do it if you want to watch that. But first of all, quick and dirty way, you can select all of your objects. So if you got all of your objects here, we've got, let's just go ahead and disable this wireframe. We don't need to see that. Each individual role here. To select all of them, obviously you can do a drag select like that. But if you have all of them in the same collection by themselves, which I do right here, look at that, all of those. You can just right click. Actually, before you right click, let's select the top one here. That's this one, just so we have an active selection. And then right click and then choose select objects. That's right click on the collection. Okay, and so with all of them selected and then with one of them active, you can press Control J to join, and then boom, it joins those. But oh, look at that, we have a completely new pile over here, and it's facing the wrong direction. So that's just because of our setup right now, and I'll go over that, but that is how you join objects. So this concludes the quick and dirty way. Now the Blender Frenzy way here. In the last video, if you had watched the last video, we started with our pile cylinder here, and then we transferred this object data to all of these at the same time, resulting in this. But by doing so, we didn't just duplicate that object, we actually linked it. So what I mean by that is if I select this object alone, and then tab into edit mode, you can see it goes into edit mode for all of them. That's because all of them are linked together. And then if I start selecting edges here, you can see that it selects edges of all of those. And if I decide to make any changes, you can see it makes changes to all of them. That is, again, because they are all linked. And I can do that with any of the other ones. Now, I can't select anything over here because that's not my active object. Remember, this is the active object. So if I tab out into object mode, go and select a random one here, tab into edit mode, and then start selecting on that one, you can see the same exact thing happens. Of course, I can't select anything over here because that's not the active object, but they are all still linked. So when you join these for some odd reason, then it also creates a completely duplicate pile with our original linked role. So we want to clear that. So the way that we can do that is, of course, we need to right click on our collection. Let's scroll down here a little bit. Right click on our collection, select objects, and then I'm going to shift select in the viewport our original, and then go to object, relations, make single user, and then object and data. Now be careful if you select object data and materials, or if you select materials, then I believe it's going to make a single user material for each and every one of those objects, which means we're going to have 1,001 different materials, and that's not practical, and that's not what we want. So we want to avoid that. Just do the object and data for the single users, and now they should not be linked. So if I just select this one and tab into edit mode, you can see it only goes into edit mode for this one. And if I select and start changing stuff, you can see it only changes it for this one. And of course, that's the same for any of these other ones. They are all their own single user. So now we can do the same exact thing. Again, I'm going to select the top cylinder here. Now you can select any of these to be the object. I just like to select the top one to be the active object, that is. And then right click the collection, select objects, and then with our active object over here, we can press Control J, and boom, now we have one single object with 1,000 roles. And again, that origin is still over here. So let's right click, set origin, origin to geometry. We can rotate it around the Z-axis just like that if we want to. Of course, I don't want to do this for this pile because I want to keep this pile with all of the each individual 1,000 roles. And that's why I named it pile TP multiple. And again, I'm doing this so that I have something to fall back on. It's just like I have this one to fall back on. So let's just go ahead and undo this to where we get back to our multiple. So this is truly our multiple cylinders, or multiple roles, I should say. So if for some reason something goes wrong with this one, I can always go back one step to our cylinders and then redo that process and then move forward. If anything goes wrong with this one, I can always go back one step and go to our original physics object and recreate that pile if I needed to. I do this on purpose to have as much of a non-destructive workflow as possible, because if I'm all the way up here and I make one object and I don't have any of this other stuff in the past, I can't go back. If I make a mistake, I can't go back and I have to redo the whole thing, and that's just going to take a whole bunch more work. So that is why my Blender Frenzy workflow is like this. Now, of course, you don't have to do it this way. You can do whatever way you want. By the way, we're not using the physics rigid body world anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Now I can always add that back in if we do have to come back up here and just select this physics original again to resimulate that pile if I needed to. So I'm going to remove that rigid body world, and then with our multiple, of course, I'm going to come up to our scene collection, make a new collection, title this pile TP SING for singular. I'm going to right click on our pile multiple, duplicate collection. And the reason I'm doing it like that again is because if I try to duplicate this whole thing, I've had some problems with that and it's been freezing and crashing Blender. Not sure why. So I'm just going to duplicate this multiple one. Just drag that into this and also drag the floor. Bring that with me because I don't want to duplicate the floor. And now we can just disable this layer, and now we have our pile singular. Of course, it's still multiple, so we need to join this. So we're going to do the exact same thing we did. Here's a quick recap. And oh, by the way, there is one thing I did forget to do. I'm going to disable this and come back up here. I forgot to relink these. So I think, yeah, so these are still single users. So I want to relink all of these objects back with each other because that's going to be important for some problems we run into later. So let's see here. Let's select our objects here and shift select this one, and then Control L to link that again in object data. I'm going to do Control L again and choose modifiers, even though I don't think I have to, but just in case. And now if I just select this one and tab into edit mode, all of those are linked again, which is what we want for our pile TP multiple. Okay, so now we can disable that, come back over here. And the cool thing is, actually, let me just go ahead and delete this hierarchy here, and we're going to reduplicate that. And I'll show you why. And because right now they're all linked, okay? So if I duplicate this collection again, and notice if I just hide our multiple one, so we duplicated this collection, but this collection isn't linked to our original object, which is really important to understand. This is still linked to the original one that we have here. So if you duplicate a collection, that linkage goes away, or it doesn't go away, it just isn't transferred to the duplicates. But what is interesting is I think they are still links of each other. Yes, so they are still links of each other, and that is also important, and we're going to keep it that way. So we're not going to make these ones single object users. We're actually just going to move this down here again, and we can go ahead and disable that. And I'm going to change this name here to Sing1. All right, so I hope you're following along so far. And this is why I rename stuff too, just to keep things organized and to know what matches with what. So now, finally, after the whole Blender Frenzy non-destructive method, I'm going to join all these objects together. So now we can come down here. I'm going to select the top one. You can select any of these. It doesn't matter. Right-click, select objects. I just like to select the top one because you can see it clearly. You can see that that's the active one here. Control J to join those. And of course, our origin is still here. So right click, set origin, origin to geometry. And now we have one single object with all of our toilet paper rolls intact. And that is how you join objects the quick and dirty way and the Blender Frenzy way. And we can always come over here and to material preview mode. Let's disable our floor for now. And we have a nice looking pile of toilet paper rolls. Yeah. Oh, there we go. So the next step is the lighting, and that is what we are going to get into in the next few videos. So stay tuned and you will see me over there.